Hello, Achron fans! This is Shadow333 with the quarterfinals of the Temporal Anomalies Season 1 tournament, the Achron tournament that Meryl Vigil and I have been running. And welcome! We are going to be starting off very quickly with a game between Haiku and Eliotn. Remember, Haiku was one he saw last Saturday. He beat Quarterfinals 2-1 using all three races. Very clever little strategy. So he will be against Eliotn, who has not played yet in the tournament. He was given a seed further up because we didn't have that many players. We had 13 players, so 3 people got free placements in the quarterfinals. And he was one of them. So, at this point, Haiku has the first map choice, and he will have chosen his map. This is actually going to be a replay because Haiku and Eliotn wanted to play earlier. Haiku has chosen Village de Saint-Antoine. So, once again, we're starting with this map. If you were here on Wednesday, this is the first map that was used for the game between Numbers and Gur No Name Left. And so we're seeing this again. Like I said before, it is a small map, not particularly resource heavy, but very, very good for the pressure. It's very different for a lot of Achron maps. Most Achron maps are a bit more resource heavy, and this one is much more resource starved map. And so create some interesting games. We saw last time with Haiku and Gur No Name Left. Numbers and Gur No Name Left. Haiku wasn't there, of course. That there was a really interesting little natural switch that was going on, and that was very exciting. I don't know what to expect out of that. So I don't know what Eliotn and Haiku is going to do. Haiku, as I mentioned before, he does use a lot of infantry, but he was playing all three races last time. He might be trying that again this time, just because he may be feeling really confident against Eliotn. Eliotn, on the other hand, is a very tenacious player. If he is even close to losing, he will not stop. He will not stop until he has been completely defeated. And that is a good quality in a lot of ways, but it's also something that the opponent has to watch out for, because that is going to be if anything, that's going to be the big thing that's going to give Eliotn an advantage, is the fact that his opponent might underestimate his tenacity. But, of course, that will only work once. After that, the opponent will probably figure out, oh, hey, wait a sec, I should probably wait until it's absolutely over, assuming that they don't realize that in the first place. So should be getting this game started pretty quickly. I'm not sure when we're going to be starting yet. Like I said, this is a replay, so we can go anytime. And we're starting. So, see here we have the game starting up. So Haiku is in the top left corner, and Eliotn is in the bottom right corner. And neither player has chosen their race yet, so we're not quite sure what they're doing. But see, it seems that Eliotn has chosen to go for Grekim, which, as I mentioned before in the pre-game screen, that is his favorite race. And Haiku, on the other hand, has not chosen his race yet. He's still paused at the start of the game, trying to go for a perfect, well, not really perfect start, I don't think. He'd probably have gone from there. But anyway, he's going for as perfect a start as he can. He is going CESO, his favorite race, as mentioned before. So both players going for their favorite race, as was mentioned at the start. So we should probably see mass infantry. Haiku loves that. Assuming that he hasn't changed his strategy up a lot, because he may have. It's not a bad idea if you have some time to practice to have more strategies than just the one. I don't know how much he has had time to practice in the meantime, so I don't know if he is going to go for something new or if he's going to continue with his standby mass infantry with teleporter and slingshot that he always does, or often does when he's playing CESO. And in fact, is that an import? I think there's an armory up there in the middle of the base. It's hard to tell. It is about the size. It could be an importer, though, in his natural, then going to resource processors. While half minute down, we see that Eliotn is continuing to build up. He actually put a try a little bit close to the RP line, but probably will be able to correct it and get that all set up properly. So he does have his RPs coming up, while Haiku is very rapidly expanding to his natural. It's a rather risky little move there from Haiku, but it may pay off because that will allow him to set up, well, at least set up an early warning system. The importers are not defense, obviously, but it will be something that will allow him to see when Eliotn is attacking his base. If he does put some infantry there, or put some defenses there, that'll help out a lot. It'd be very useful to keep one door of his base closed, but I don't think he's going to do that. It is a very vulnerable spot. He is building a factory, though, back when he is, but this is about a minute down when Eliotn is, and Eliotn is continuing to build up his main base. He's not really expanding or anything, doing anything too risky. He's just building up his main base. He appears to be going partly to his natural. He's probably sending out a couple of scout octos, but his main base is being rather scarcely populated. I'm surprised at how few RPs there are. I don't know if that's due to the mistake that I mentioned before, putting his triad too close to the RPs, or what. But Haiku has built up all the LC crates in his main base and gotten 5 crates in his natural 3 LC 2 QP. As a factory 2 importer's armory, he's going to be building up very quickly. Looks like another importer is coming up the back, I think. The size looks about right for an importer. So he's probably going for very fast ATHC attacks. This is a very common strategy against Grekim. I wouldn't be surprised if Lancers were given 2, but I think ATHC is more likely, given that they can cloak. And Octos have come in. There we go. Eliotn's Octos have attacked. Start attacking Haiku's base, but half minute down, they are still attacking, so that was a rather early attack. Eliotn, there he is, sending some Octos to his natural to expand. So that's where those RPs were his natural. Eliotn's actually also going back to the I think Eliotn's doing a race switch. He's gone right back to the very start of the game and is starting to replay stuff, so I think he's actually gone for a total race switch. And no, he hasn't. No, he's still going Grekim. That's just... I've seen a lot of players, especially Haiku, actually, love doing this before, will go for a race switch, and you can tell because they jump back to the very start of the timeline and start doing stuff there, but it looks like Eliotn was actually just changing where Arcticus was placed and all that very early game stuff. So no race switch for Eliotn. Both players are going as the race they appear to be, and the Octos appear to have been fended off. The Octos are coming in, Marines are coming around, and it looks like the Octos will not be able to do too much damage. Importers have been placed in place of some of the RPs that were there before, so this will provide a nice little SimCity for the Marine. The Octos are taking out one of the importers, and it looks like the Marines are going to be... Well, one of the Marines is actually getting out of position. It won't be able to attack very safely. I don't know if it's going to try to lure the Octos back, try to get into an unpathable spot, but it looks like the Octos are actually going to be able to get through that. And Eliotn is actually posing a bit of a threat early on to Haiku, although Haiku has plenty of meta time to fix this up. But it seems that the stream has frozen, oddly enough. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on right now. Here we are. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. A little freeze up there. So the importer has been destroyed. One of the Octos has destroyed the importer, both behind Haiku and Eliotn right now. Both players are... Actually, they are moving back further. Haiku is moving back to remicro this. Eliotn seems to be quite satisfied with the result. And neither player is actually going up for any tech. They're just going straight for this attack and defense. And I'm surprised no ATHC has actually come up for Haiku yet. He has the reserves, he has the resources, and he just hasn't... Or no, he may have built it yet. There's actually a progress bar in the factory. So yes, he could very well be building an ATHC. That's the most likely thing will be built, and it's not coming out yet. No, something has... I apologize. I am actually watching this off the stream because I don't have the technical capability to actually watch a replay and stream it at the same time. I'm getting a new computer soon, so that won't be a problem. But right now, there is an ATHC, as I predicted. There's also an expansion in the bottom left corner, which is handling another factory, an armory, and importer. So Haiku does have a very safe setup. He has lost a couple importers, but it's really not going to be a big deal if he can rebuild the bottom and have 2 independent bases. So Eliotn's going to have a much harder time stopping him right now. Eliotn, back when he is focused a bit more on the Octo, but also will probably be building up his main base a bit more. He's got his natural, more RPs there. Yes, he's 5 RPs on his natural. Only 3 RPs ultimately for Haiku on his natural. He should probably build some more there. Now he has a chance, but he is getting the bottom left expansion, so it's not a big deal. ATHC is coming down, and 4 Octos are coming up, so both players are attacking each other again rather strongly. So Eliotn, his Octos have... We're just jumping back a bit from when we were. Octos are approaching, and the ATHC is trying to weaken them a bit, but it won't be able to do too much damage. So 5 Octos actually coming in. The ATHC will be able to bypass them entirely and start harassing the main base. And back, we're about 2 minutes down from when we were before. The Octos are now being sent out, ATHC is being built, and the Octos themselves are being built. Another Octo, actually looks like he's pro-generating in the middle of the natural, I think that was a mistake, is building a resource processor, so this is just the attack we saw before, but this is the preparation to it, while the Octos were attacking the main base. The ATHC, now about a minute up from when we were, is coming into the base. We'll start harassing very quickly, and actually going around the side. It's going to be going around to the left side of the main, the south side, while... Wow, Haiku's actually building a lot of factories. I don't think he's going for a particularly infantry-heavy build this time. I think he's going a bit more for ATHCs. If he gets he has machinery, so he's very well going for possibly Tornads or tanks. My guess would probably be Tornads, given that Grekim are very fond of going for fire pod attacks, so he could very well be going for Tornads, and if that's the case, then he will be able to completely detect any fire pod attacks as they come in. So ATHC is coming up and is going to be dealing some damage, attacking one of the RPs, has closed it up. The 5 Octos are coming down around, and those appear to be the same 5 Octos that were attacking before. Now an ATHC and a Special Ops. The Special Ops is getting completely destroyed by the Octos. The ATHC, however, is still doing a lot of damage to the RPs, harassing them very well. So that's going to be not the most effective harassment, of course. It's just one unit, but it's still a bit of a distraction. Will still knock out a bit of the resource management of Eliotn. Will still bring him down a bit, but it's not that big of a deal. The real big deal is the fact that Haiku has one base over Eliotn, and he's playing CESO, which I'm not sure exactly how many bases it needs over Grekim. That hasn't quite been determined yet, but Grekim does need a lot of QP, and Eliotn's draining quite a bit of it. Sorry, Eliotn's not draining quite a bit of it. Haiku's draining quite a bit of it. Eliotn needs it a lot. I should say Eliotn will be draining quite a bit of it from his own reserves, should he be getting Pharopods anytime soon, but I don't know if he's going for that. He is going heavily for Octos, and Octopods seem to be very focused on a ground-heavy army, and that's not going to go over very well with his ATHCs. He's going to need some Pharos, he's going to need some Sepipods, one or the other, and he doesn't even have advanced structures yet. He is getting it, though, back here. He has switched around and started to get it, and Haiku will actually be getting Gate Tech. Looks like about a minute up from here. So both players are teching up, but Haiku is teching up quite a bit faster and getting quite a few more resources than Eliotn, and we'll be spending them on Gate Tech very soon. So Haiku is clearly got the advantage right now. However, two Pharos are coming in and allowing the ATHCs to be spotted, so the ATHCs will be destroyed rather quickly, provided that they are, yes, they are continuing to be spotted. The Octos are the ones being targeted, not the Pharos, so the ATHCs are done, but that was still a fairly effective harassment by Haiku, at least from the distraction point of view. Not from a totally economic point of view, a small harassment from that, but he still distracted the forces of Eliotn. And Haiku actually, he's retreated with those ATHCs, he's undone that attack, and he's going straight into the main base, can attack the Octopod directly. Doesn't look like any Pharo. No Pharos are in the main base, no other detectors are in the main base. That Octopod is going down. No, actually there is a detector in the main base, but it doesn't matter. That Octopod's going down very quickly. However, the second Octopod is going to come in and support it, and will be able to take out the ATHC. So still something of a harassment attack, but not super effective. And now it looks Eliotn is going north to the expansion in the northeast, and is going to be building up quite a bit there. So both players will be even on expansions. However, Haiku has had this expansion longer. He now has Gate Tech, so he can start getting his favorites, the Slingshots or Teleporters. He might get Chronoporters as well, but given that he's, you know what? I don't know. He's going for machinery. He's probably going to get some higher tech vehicles, so he could very well make. He's actually getting. He's getting Martanks. Yes, Haiku is getting about 3 Martanks in his macropad, queuing them up. Though not always the best idea, but he is queuing up 3 Martanks. He is also getting. Not sure he's getting his factories, but he is getting a Chronoporter. How about that? So Chronoporter and Teleporter have been built, and very likely the strategy will be to wait until the Teleporter has been there for a few minutes, and then Chronoport back, and then teleport straight into Eliotn's base. A bit less initiative on the attack, but it does mean that Haiku will be further in the unplayable past, and Eliotn will have been attacking because he felt that he was not vulnerable. So Haiku's little southwest base is doing very well for itself, and that really is where Eliotn needs to focus. The main base and the natural are not being focused on by Haiku right now. He's not developing them very much at all. So Eliotn's going to be attacking the southwest base with the Sepipod. Another macropad is coming up very quickly. The Sepipods are being destroyed very rapidly. The defense turret is doing a very good job. So Eliotn has seen this attack. Well, he will be seeing the Chronoport coming, but I don't know if he really has much to deal with this. He doesn't have Chronoporting upgraded himself. He doesn't have the resources to do so, and he is really in a bad spot to try to deal with a massive ground force coming in. Back when he probably will be attacked with a Chronoport, he does have the Octopods, but 3 Martanks against a couple of Octopods is kind of a toss-up. I mean, if the Octos come in, we'll be able to deal with quite a bit of damage, but that's still not going to be that effective when you think about the fact that Martanks are artillery. So it's going to be a bit of an issue because Martanks, being artillery, are going to be able to have the ranged advantage on the Octopods, provided that they're able to spot the Octopods first. However, the Octopods are coming in the natural of Haiku, when Haiku is focused right now. So Haiku does know of this coming, and he's not really. He's got some infantry to help deal with this, but I don't see him really investing too much time protecting that base. What he really needs to be worried about is the southwest base, making sure that he has everything set up in that base to attack and to Chronoport back and continue to attack. And he has Chronoport back a frigate as well, so he's about a minute and a half down. He has a frigate Chronoport back. He has probably looks like in the entire base, he has, yes, a frigate and 3 Martanks. So the frigate is doing all the spotting for the Martanks, and will be dealing a lot of damage. The Sepipods have not been built yet. The Octopods are out of position, and the Martanks are doing a ton of damage. However, the frigate seems to have been killed. It doesn't matter, though. That's still a lot of damage. The Archers has been destroyed, so the Grekim command structure is being heavily damaged. The Triads are being heavily damaged in the unplayable pass, too. So Eliotn, he needs to get gates. He needs to get Chronoporting very quickly. I don't think he has an independent Triad. He seems to be escaping with a couple base-class units to the north, but if Eliotn is not able to actually do that and make that stick, then that is going to be a huge blow, and I think that will actually cost them the game. It's hard to tell where those escaped units are, and it was a is it Seppi and a Faro? Because it looks like it. So Eliotn has managed to escape with a Seppi and a Faro, but that's still very risky. Eliotn is going to have to really focus on keeping that safe and keeping that hidden. But Haiku has a massive advantage right now. He's going to be able to just tear apart all the RPs right now, completely destroy them, get rid of what was left of Eliotn's base, and of course there's really only one place that Eliotn could go. So the Seppi and Faro pair are going to try to start progenerating and rebuild for Eliotn, but really, he's lost his main base. Haiku has one huge base and two other bases for resources. He is really healthy. On the other hand, Eliotn just lost his main base. He's lost all of his RPs except for the ones in the top right, and those really are next in the chopping block. There's really no reason why Haiku would wait to attack those right now. He has plenty of production capacity. He has plenty of units. He has the Mar tanks coming up. He has mechs coming up in case any air units come up, though that's not likely. His fire is not likely to happen anytime soon. However, a bunch of Octos are coming in to the natural base. Probably not a huge deal. A couple of ATHCs are set up to defend, to just cloak and attack and defend. Mar tanks coming around the other side. The Octos, of course, are out of position to defend that base. The Progen Triad will likely be destroyed very quickly. The Octos are focusing more on attacking than they are on defending, and really what Eliotn needs to do right now is to defend. The Mar tanks don't do especially well against Octos, provided the Octos are actually rushing them, but it looks like the Octos are more focused on getting rid of the comm center, and we saw a bit in the future Mar tanks will come up to try to save this base, so really, Eliotn should not be attacking right now. He should be defending, he should be focusing on securing the top right expansion, but Mar tanks have come in from Haiku's time about a minute down from Eliotn and are going to be able to deal a ton of damage, probably get rid of that Progen Triad. All of the defense forces are out of position for defense. They've gone to attack, and that's not likely to pay off for Eliotn, given that Eliotn will need to storm that southwest base and actually destroy it, while the Mar tanks have destroyed the Triad from both Eliotn and Haiku's time. Eliotn's going to jump back about a half minute to try to see if he can save that, but I seriously doubt it's going to happen. Those Mar tanks are way too powerful for what defenses he has in that base. He has everything out of position. All he could really do is try to undo this Octopod attack, send them back to his northeast expansion, and try to save it from there, but even then, that's still really risky. He still only has one expansion to several. Well, to three. But on a map like this, where that's half the map, that's way too much. Eliotn's going to have almost an impossible time dealing with this, and yeah, frigates have come in to try to deal with the Octopods as well, and Eliotn really doesn't have much he can do. Just a bunch of forces getting teleported in to the natural base from the southwest base to save it, and that's going to do way too much. Now a bunch of mechs being teleported in by Haiku, and that actually isn't the best idea, honestly. But the frigates are coming in to support, and that will help a lot more, because they aren't quite as vulnerable to the Octopods as the mechs are, and the mechs are mostly anti-air units. However, the Octopods, regardless, have been destroyed, and Eliotn has called it. So that is the game. Well done for Haiku. Very interesting. No, not a huge infantry spam, but still a very interesting map. So the next map is going to be Imperium, and that is a map we've seen as well. It's a much smaller map, though. It's got also few resources. So Eliotn picked that. Apparently Haiku did not have a problem with it. So that will be our next game. Just give me 1 second. And that will be coming up very shortly. So that was a very interesting game, though. I mean, Eliotn had a very, very fascinating little attempt at the start, but it looks like Haiku really did have the upper hand for most part in the entire game, and that was really well done by Haiku. So right now it looks like Haiku has decided to go for Grekim, although I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Meryl appears to be a little bit distracted right now, but Haiku does appear to be going for Grekim instead of CESO, and I'm not sure if Eliotn has also gone for Grekim, but it looks like Eliotn has probably also gone for Grekim, given by how much space he's giving up on the minimap. Looks like he has gone for Grekim, so now it's a Grekim versus Grekim match. It's interesting that Haiku has switched to Grekim for a second game. He did that in the last one, too, and it didn't work out very well for him, so I'm not sure why he's doing it again. I'm really surprised he's not just going for CESO. That worked out really well for him last time, unless he's not particularly comfortable with CESO on Imperium, but in terms of overall paradigm, Imperium and Village de Saint-Antoine aren't particularly different, so I don't understand exactly his motivation for switching race in the middle of the series. But if it works out for him, I guess that's all the more glory, really. I mean, well done. He did it last time, and that was really amazing. So I guess he's just trying to go for it again. I'm not sure, like I said, why he's deciding to go for Grekim for the second match, but it's a really risky idea. like I mentioned before, it's something that you have to practice 2 races as opposed to 1. So now you're splitting your practice time compared to your opponent. And admittedly, this isn't a super high-level tournament. This is like the second beta tournament, and so it's not going to be the most high-level play, but it's still going to be something where people are going to practice, people are going to take it seriously. So switching race like that is risky. It's just risky. It's going to be something that if you do it, you better know what you're doing, or you better be just thinking, whatever, I'll just throw the game away. Why you think that, I have no idea, but that's the only reason I can imagine why you do that, rather than just being a joke or something, because I don't see any merit. Okay, it might throw your opponent off because they might not be used to playing against that race, but especially Grekim versus Grekim. That's been such a popular matchup over the last few months that of all the races to switch to, Grekim seems like an odd choice if you're trying to throw off your opponent. Now, Haiku being Haiku, he could be doing a race switch and simply feinting Grekim and then switching to CESO, which he has done several times before, but he hasn't done race switch strategies a lot in recent games, so I don't imagine we'll be seeing that very soon here either. So Haiku appears to be sincerely going for Grekim. He's started building expansions in the east side of the map, building up RPs on all the LC crates, and Eliotn, on the other hand, is actually sending his Arcticus all the way into Haiku's base, which he's done a couple times in a couple earlier games, but yeah, he's sending his Arcticus to scout instead of sending Octo or something. He's also building a bunch of Pharos. Interesting, he actually progened an Octo to build more Pharos instead of progenning a Pharo to build Octos for RPs. I'm not sure what he was thinking about with that. I imagine he's going for a Pharo rush because that's the only thing I can think of, because Pharos are a good assault unit, sure, but you need RPs. You need resources to live. So I'm not sure exactly what the motivation is, but he will be progenerating a lot of Pharos and trying to attack with those. And Haiku, continuing to build up the east side of the map. Arcticus from Eliotn will be approaching Haiku's base very shortly, and Eliotn will know what's up. And yes, Eliotn is focusing on progenerating Pharos. So he might be going for a very early 3-part triad, but really, I'm just surprised he didn't build a Pharo from the Arcticus in the first place. That's typically what players do. It's very unusual to see players build anything other than Pharos from the Arcticus, and then build Octos from the starting pair. But Eliotn has decided to go for Pharos instead. I'm guessing, like I said, I'm guessing a Pharo rush, just a delayed Pharo rush, attacking the unplayable past. That's the only thing that really comes to mind. The Arcticus, having seen what it needed to see, has been undone. Its movement has been undone. This was purely an echo scout there. So Eliotn knows what's up. He has his Arcticus going around, getting shot, but seeing what Haiku is up to, and Haiku's going Grekim. Eliotn knows he's going Grekim and knows what he's up against. So that is going to be a rather interesting bit of information for Eliotn, but like I said, it looks like he's just going for a delayed Pharo rush. So the blue time wave, I'm guessing, if not, then the green time wave will be carrying along this rush that I'm guessing is happening, and from there we'll probably see a lot of damage being done to Haiku. Pharos are quite powerful. They are detectors. They are generalist units when it comes to fighting air or ground, so they'd be able to deal with this, but it's just a very unusual strategy, very unusual setup. And Pharos are actually coming in as well from Haiku from his east base, but that's further in the future, so about a minute in the future compared to about, well, looks like 3 minutes in the past for Eliotn, there's a lot of stuff coming up, and Haiku is actually also getting getting chronoporting, I should say, very quickly. He has advanced structures, he's getting chronoporting, he's getting a ton of Pharos rushing into Eliotn's base, while Eliotn has his Pharos just hanging out. Like I said, I think the blue or green time wave is going to carry them having attacked. But that's still interesting. Both players are going for a mass Pharo rush rather than going for, and here we are, the Pharos have come in. Not near the unplayable past, mind you, so Haiku can counter this. But still, Pharos and Seppi, actually. Yeah, Pharos and Seppi have come into the main base and are trying to attack, just attacking the Arcticus. Eliotn will likely move these to attack a bit more useful target. But right now, just the Arcticus, because they happen to be in front. And the Seppi and Pharo, here we go. Seppi and Pharo are going for the attack, building a bunch of Octos in the middle of Haiku's main base. Eliotn going for a very interesting little idea. I've seen this before. It's happened a few times, but it's very rare to see. It's kind of a bit of a cheese build because you have pro-gen units in the opponent's base, and you could be risking your infantry very much so. And yes, a bunch of Octos coming in for Eliotn from the pro-gen triad. It looks like he actually meant to have 4 Octos, but he got blocked off the second time around. So a reef has been built as well, which will help heal up the forces of Haiku as they're being attacked, but it looks like that reef's going to be going down very quickly. Seppi's Tower coming in for Haiku, though, and they will be helping to defend, but they won't last very long. They're primarily anti-air units and generalists. Pharos will be much more effective. And here we are. Now we have the 4 Octos as was intended originally. So Eliotn will ultimately get the 4 Octos, 3 Pharos, 1 Seppi, and Haiku's base will likely be destroyed. However, Haiku was playing away from his main base, so he will likely be not in too bad shape, but that's still a big blow. I mean, losing 2 reefs is pretty expensive. Dome is coming up as well. Advanced structures, like I said, has been upgraded for Haiku, and later he's planning on upgrading chronoporting, but I don't think he will be able to do that unless he manages to defend his main base properly. And this is going to be a very tough thing to do right now. Dome is built. Eliotn is focused on this point in time, and Eliotn's just about out of chrono energy. He's out of chrono energy, so he's done everything he can. He's not going to be able to micro this very effectively, but he also isn't going to be having much of a hard time getting through. Domes aren't particularly powerful against ground units until you upgrade weaponry, and that's a pretty late game upgrade. So this will not be going too well for Haiku right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything about this. I don't know what's in the East base, if he has something there, or Triad there, that he could use to start building up. He does have a bunch of RPs there, so he's not going to be losing all of his economy. And no, it's just RPs, so that is going to be very bad for Haiku. He really needs to defend this base. More forces coming in from Eliotn, and that's going to be very powerful. And the Arcticus as well is floating and coming. Oh, Eliotn is just throwing everything at Haiku right now early game, trying to just win with a total early game attack, and it's actually working out really well, surprisingly enough. But Haiku does have still a full Triad, while Eliotn has nothing, and Haiku is actually getting resources pretty continuously. Eliotn has not gotten any QP, he's gotten very little LC, so Eliotn is still a bit behind. Haiku just needs to basically be able to defend with as little as he can. He keeps his economy up, he'll be doing very well for himself. So, right now, he is apparently able to defend. Yes, he is able to defend, so Eliotn's attack has not ultimately been fruitful. However, it's still a pretty powerful harassment attack. I think, though, he's not got much. I think Eliotn's going to give up after this, because he has very little in his base. He has no units to progen with. He has an Arcticus and enough to actually build up. He will be able to build up a Triad from the Arcticus. He has enough LC to do that. And yeah, Eliotn has surrendered. So that's the game. Haiku, well done. So Haiku has won his series. So well done, Haiku. So, wow, interesting setup. So Haiku actually won switching races. That was almost more Eliotn losing. I'm going to just put it out there. Eliotn went for a rush, went for an all-in build, and lost. So it's kind of a toss-up, but I'd say that Haiku still won, so well done to him. So that's going to be our first series. We're going to start up the second series pretty soon. Just take a little bit of a break, and then when we come back, probably about 5-10 minutes, then we'll have Alfie 275 versus Numbers. So we'll be seeing you shortly.